The building of the project starts by planning it. And I'm going to use Claude AI to plan my project. Everything actually comes down to iterations. It gave us the plan. We don't like the plan. We want to iterate on the plan. If something is messed up using AI, I don't want to recreate new project. Okay, so it completed the work and it made changes in the following files. And for next prompt, I'm not going to use the same chat. We're going to create new chat. And sometimes what Claude does, by doing this, cursor will go into the documentation, have a look. It will understand what is new in Livewire version 4, and it's going to apply the changes in the code. That's pretty cool. It is fetching the entire documentation, and now I understood Livewire's 4 single file component syntax, and it should be able to get the data from the database through MCP. Then I'm going to drag this tab. It's going to use that particular file as its context. In this video, we're going to build a real-world application with Laravel Livewire version 4, but more importantly, we're going to use AI tools like Claude and Cursor. We're going to plan our entire project inside Claude, and then Claude will generate prompts for us, and we're going to use those prompts inside Cursor AI to generate the entire application. I don't write a single line of code right here, but this is not a typical live coding tutorial. I monitor everything what is generated by Cursor. I don't accept changes if I don't like it. I ask it to refactor things, change things. So it's like I'm a senior guy and Cursor is my junior developer who is doing all the work, and I am just responsible of what is generated. Video has tons of interesting things inside. I recommend to watch it, and you will learn a lot of things regarding how to build applications using AI. So at the end of this video, we're going to deploy the project on production ready environment, assign custom domain to it so that you have the entire flow. Even if you are not a technical person, you will be able to build such type of applications, but understanding of the code that is generated by Cursor is fundamental. So if you plan to build Laravel applications using Cursor or any other coding editor, you must have at least basic and solid understanding of Laravel fundamentals. And this is the place where you can check Laravel for Beginners course on my website, thecodeholic.com. Or you can simply scan the QR code which you see on the screen, which by the way is generated by the application which we are going to build in this tutorial. That is a typical URL shortener application where you provide URL, it generates a shortened version of that, but we also generate QR codes. We also have analytics of how many times the link was clicked, how many times it was redirected from a QR code. You have ability to generate short links even without authentication, but if you authenticate, you obviously have access to all these analytics. That's an interesting project, and I built this entire project in about 100 minutes. And mostly what I was doing is just giving instructions to either Claude or Cursor, and then I was sitting and waiting until it generated the code. And obviously while we were sitting and waiting, you can do some other things. Even though we chose a Laravel Livewire version 4, we didn't do much work inside Laravel Livewire on ourselves because Cursor did all the things. And the interesting thing is that Cursor did not know about Laravel Livewire version 4. So what we did was pointing Cursor into the documentation area that Livewire 4 was there, in which case Cursor started reading the documentation, understand everything, and it, like previously generated Laravel Livewire version 3 components, were migrated into version 4 by Cursor itself. By the way, if you are interested to see the exact prompts I used inside Cursor to build this exact application, you can check the video description. I'm going to put useful links there. And once the Cursor finished the work, then I was reviewing everything. I was commenting, pushing on the GitHub. By the way, the source code is open. You can check the video description to find the source code, and you can see the generated code as well. As a choice of the hosting to deploy our project, we're going to use Hostinger, which is also sponsoring this video. Go to hostinger.com/thecodeholic. They always have some sort of discount, and right now they have the biggest discount on their web hosting. You can get the hosting under $2, which is insane. And we're going to use the same hosting to deploy the project on production environment. And that $2 hosting actually includes a free domain as well. Premium hosting is under $2, which gives you ability to deploy 3 websites. You have 20 gigs of storage, you have free domain, SSL certificates, and bunch of other and cool stuff such as weekly auto backups as well. But if you get the business hosting, you are on a different level. You have ability to deploy up to 50 websites. You have these 5 managed Node.js web apps as well, which is something new they added in this business web hosting. You have 50 gigs of fastest storage. You have mailboxes as well. So if you get the domain, you can actually get premium emails for that domain. Choose your desired plan, then choose your desired period. The biggest saving you are going to make if you choose the biggest period. If you are committed to the project, then obviously 48 months will give you a greatest discount. If not, if you're experimenting, simply 12 months will also be enough. But if you enter my coupon code, you will get extra 10% off. Thank you, Hostinger, for sponsoring this video. And now let's start building this application. The building of the project starts by planning it. And I'm going to use Claude AI to plan my project, to give me the subtasks what I need to complete, and also then the Claude will give me prompts which I'm going to put in my Cursor AI to actually generate the project. And typically what I use when I plan my project is this microphone input text to speech. Actually, it's a speech to text, excuse me. So, but the Claude AI doesn't have speech to text. So here's the hack, what I'm going to do. I'm going to use ChatGPT for this speech to text input, and then copy the generated text and put this inside Claude AI. Okay, so we're going to start right now talking to ChatGPT to generate this text. I want to create URL shortener type of application in Laravel, and I'm going to use a Laravel Livewire as well. I'm going to create the project myself, and I'm going to install Laravel Livewire as well. And the rest of the thing I plan to be done using Cursor AI. Right now, I'm going to talk about what I think the project needs to have, and then we need to break this down into subtasks. Okay, so I want the project to have authentication part as well, which will be already done in the project. If the user is opening and accessing as a guest, then they will be able simply to generate a short version of the URLs. They can copy and they can do whatever they want. However, if the user is authenticated user, then they will also see some sort of analytics, like how many clicks their links received. They will also be able to generate QR codes if they are authenticated on the website, and they will also see the scans and openings using QR code, specific QR code. So I want to create this simple URL shortener type of application, not too many features, just focus on MVP, generating short version of the URL, login, authentication, analytics, and QR code only, and the project basically is something what I plan to use for myself. Focus on MVP, don't add any extra things right there. Okay, so we talked to ChatGPT. It generated the following text. So we're gonna take this out, go into Claude AI, and I'm gonna paste this right here. Okay, maybe we can write one more sentence. Give me step-by-step subtasks to complete this project. Okay, cool. Now we're going to send this, and let's wait until this does the work. I'm going to turn off the camera. Okay, so Claude completed the subtasks, and here it is. So the task 1 is to create database migrations and the models. Task 2 is to build the URL shortening logic. 3, create Livewire component for URL shortening form. Then we have this create redirect controller. Then we have the authentication part using Laravel Breeze or Jetstream. This is something we're going to probably skip because we're going to use Laravel Livewire. I'm not going to use Laravel Breeze. We have these authenticated user features, associate URLs with authenticated. Okay, build analytics view, add QR code generation, track QR codes. Okay, so now here's the thing. Most of the things are correct, what I'm going to do, but some of the things is what I don't feel right now is correct. As an example, I don't want first to implement shortening logic and then associate the authenticated associate URLs with authenticated users. I want this to be done from the first step. This is now what I'm going to tell this. Again, I want to use voice to text input, but because it doesn't have, I have to go to ChatGPT. I don't want to associate my URLs at a later stage to users. I want the user registration to be there from day one, and I will create the project myself, and there will be user registration from day one. So you can already assume user registration is there. Okay, please now combine several tasks into a single one, and totally give me about like 6 to 8 tasks I need to complete. Feel free to make tasks a bit bigger as well. Okay, so we have this new text right now, which we're gonna take, go into Claude, and paste here. Everything actually comes down to iterations. It gave us the plan. We don't like the plan. We want to iterate on the plan. It is very less likely that you tell something AI and it's going to do the work exactly as you want on the first try. That's why we need to iterate. As long as you iterate, as long as you tell it exactly what you want, then you're going to get the result. And step by step, AI is going to improve, and you're going to need much less iterations to achieve the same thing. Okay, now here we have a new plan. Task 1, database setup and model setup. Then we have this core URL shortening system, user dashboard with URL management, analytic display, QR code generation, tracking, UI polish, and final testing. So we have 6 tasks, which is quite reasonable for me. So we will need 6 prompts for the Cursor AI to iterate and just build the entire application. So now the next step is to focus on one task at a time. But before I focus on the task, we need to create a new Laravel project, right? So I'm going to open terminal. Make sure you have installed Laravel or Laravel Herd. I have a Laravel Herd, and we can go ahead and add a new site from here, but I typically prefer to create new projects using terminal. If you are on Windows or on Mac, you can download and install Laravel Herd, which will come with everything what you need to develop Laravel applications, including Node.js and Composer and different PHP versions and everything what you need. Now, I'm going to create project using terminal. I'm going to navigate into www folder because this is where I typically create all my projects, and I'm going to execute Laravel new URL shortener. Let's hit the enter. I'm going to choose a Livewire right here, and we're going to use Laravel's built-in authentication. I'm going to choose yes, and I'm going to choose PEST as my testing framework. Yes, we want Laravel Boost and AI assisted help, and now it's going to create a new Laravel project. Now it asks me if I want to install Herd MCP alongside with Boost MCP, and why not? Let's install this. We don't want Laravel Fortify, so I can tick this using, if you want, you can tick this using space, but I don't want this, so I'm going to untick this and hit enter. And then which coding editors do you want to use? I'm going to stick with Cursor, and sometimes I use PHP Storm as, not sometimes, but I use PHP Storm as well, as often as Cursor. And yeah, I'm going to just choose Cursor and PHP Storm. And right here, I'm going to also stick with Cursor and Junie. And the final question is if we want to run npm install, and I'm going to hit yes. Okay, awesome. Now the project is created, and the first thing we're going to do is open using Cursor. It's called URL shortener, Cursor URL shortener. Okay, the next thing what I typically do is to commit everything, because if something is messed up using AI, I don't want to recreate new projects. So what I'm going to do, git add everything. Actually, first we need git init, then git add everything, and then I'm going to call git commit -m with a message initial commit. Okay, awesome. So now we have everything committed. I can revert this easily to this state. Now I'm going to execute composer run dev, and we can see that the application will start on the following URL, which is something we don't want. So I'm going to close this. The actual application is started on 127.0.0.1 port 8000, and we're going to open this. Here's the application, and I'm going to test the authentication part. So I'm going to create new account, Zura. Okay, the account was created. Perfect. Now we're going to focus on one prompt at a time. So this is Cursor and this is Claude. Now I want to generate a detailed prompt for the task 1. Generate this into canvas. The canvas is when it generates on the right side so that we can have a look and we can edit the text as well. Now, here it completed the task 1 prompt, and we can have a look. It's gonna give us the entire context, requirements, what indexes should be there. Okay, this is pretty detailed prompt, and typically I do a review of this, and this is what you should do. Now, so I read this. If I don't agree something, then I reply, please modify this part. This is not necessary for the prompt. And the more time you spend on this, the less time you have to deal with the cursor's some challenges, right? So spend time on this, plan your prompt very carefully, and then you will save a lot of time in the cursor. Okay, so now it completed everything, and what we need to do is simply copy this. Now go into cursor, open sidebar, and typically I work with Opus model, which is one of the most intelligent model right now. And I'm going to paste this right here, and we're going to click sending. So I have also worth mentioning, I have $40 a monthly pricing plan on Cursor AI, and I also pay for Claude. Okay, so it's going to give me also its plan, what it is going to do, because in my Cursor rules, I have explicitly mentioned that don't do anything until I approve the plan. So I have to provide here, approved. Okay, so it completed the work and it made changes in the following files, and we have to review this and approve this or reject this. So I'm going to do this review right now. I'm going to speed up the process a little bit, but the idea is clear. You need to review everything what's generated, because I'm doing this for developers. I'm not doing this for like a non-developer type of people. So it created a couple of columns here, which is okay. We're happy with that. So since there is no UI changes right now, only migrations, models, and factories were created, we cannot see anything in the browser for now, but what we have to do is to commit everything, because whenever in the future, if cursor breaks something, we need to be able to return to the following commit. So we're going to open the commit message area, and we are going to generate the commit message using Cursor AI. And it's going to basically give us this one-liner commit, add URLs relationships to user model, which is not something what we want. So this is what I typically do on this as well. So right here on the following chat area, I will tell cursor using this voice input. Now generate a detailed commit message for the changes made in this chat. Okay, so here's the commit message, which I need to copy and actually create it should have the first line, a database schema and models for URL shortener. Perfect. We're going to hit on commit. Now we're going to move on to the next prompt. And for next prompt, I'm not going to use the same chat. We're going to create a new chat. Now we go back into Claude and tell the Claude, now give me detailed prompt for task 2. Okay, here is prompt 2 given by Claude. This entire text is just prompt, nothing else. So you have to read this, you have to iterate this. If you are happy with the prompt, this is what we're going to achieve. Then we're going to copy this and go into cursor. In a new chat, we're going to paste this and hit the enter. So with the following approach, we will be able to create the entire application. We're going to iterate on the prompt itself, making sure that the prompt is exactly what we want to achieve. Then we copy the prompt, go into cursor, paste it. Then we probably need to iterate right here as well if the cursor made the proper changes here. But the more time we spend on this prompt, the less time we have to spend on iterating inside the cursor, which will be a bit more challenging, believe me. And cursor sometimes makes unnecessary changes. When you ask to revert one file there, then it's going to do a bunch of other changes. This is not what we want. Do you approve this plan? Yes, I approve this plan. And sometimes what Claude does, it overlaps certain tasks. For example, we have now 6 tasks to complete according to our initial planning, right? So we're following task by task. But sometimes, Like cursor might generate a prompt right here, which includes some portion of functionality from task 3 as well, even though we are on task 2. So if you miss that, then it's going to do an extra work, obviously, which is fine. But when you come to the task 3 planning, then it's going to generate the same prompt again, which is something you don't want. So I recommend to review the generated prompts using AI, and once you approve the prompt, only after this go into cursor, paste it, and just give the work to the cursor. Now it completed the work and it ran all 75 tests and they are passing. And here it gives me the summary, but I'm more interested in the actual files that has been generated there. So we have this URL shortener service, and let's start with that. Okay, here are the characters it's going to use, the code length, the maximum attempts to generate the unique short code. Okay, these are the configuration options, of course, which we can change, and the 6 is totally fine as well. Generate shortcode, here's the logic. Ensure unique shortcodes. Yeah, it's going to try this into maximum attempt of times to actually create the short URL and save that also in the database, to validate if the given URL is a valid URL. So everything seems okay. We're going to keep all. Then we have this create short URL component, which has the original URL, generated short URL, shortcode, and error message as well. It has its own rule, messages, shorten method as well. Create short URL accepts the original URL and the currently authenticated user ID. So that seems okay to me. So, and by the way, right now it is following Livewire 3 syntax of these components. And I'm going to tell it to change this part. There's a Livewire version 4 recently released, and even though it fully supports these type of components, I want to try new components, right? So this is what I'm going to do. So this is the documentation for version 4. I'm going to copy the following URL, go into Cursor AI, click on settings, then we're going to go into indexing and docs, and we are going to add a new doc right here. And this is going to be the URL. We're going to hit the enter. And this is the Laravel Livewire version 4. Okay, I'm going to click on confirm. Then I'm going to bring up the AI panel again, and I'm going to ask it to make some changes. Okay, you used Laravel Livewire version 3 syntax and created this component, create short URL component. I want to use Laravel Livewire version 4 syntax, which has this single file components, where the component logic and the template lives in a single file. So you can choose to create them in a single file or in separate files, but at least they should be in a single folder. And this is what is suggested in Laravel Livewire version 4. Please have a look at your generated code and update everything into according to Laravel Livewire version 4. And I'm tagging here Laravel Livewire version 4 docs as well. So here is what I'm doing. I'm going to hitting @ symbol, then we go into docs, and I'm tagging this Laravel Livewire version 4 documentation. So by doing this, cursor will go into the documentation, have a look. It will understand what is new in Livewire version 4, and it's going to apply the changes in the code. That's pretty cool. Look at this. Did you see its thinking process? Let's have a look at its thinking process. The user wants me to update Livewire components to use Livewire version 4 single file component syntax. Looking at the documentation, Laravel 4 uses single file components that are stored in the following with this emoji prefix, like a counter blade as an example, and it had this thinking process, understood what it needs to be done, then it gave me the following text. I'll search the Livewire 4 documentation to understand, then it executed the MCP to go and fetch that information, which obviously we're going to allow. So we actually can allow the entire Livewire Laravel.com. So I'm going to hit on this. So it will always fetch the documentation from Livewire Laravel.com. It is fetching the vault as well. It is fetching the components. So basically the entire documentation. And now I understood Livewire's 4 single file component syntax. Let me update the component to use prompt Livewire 4 format. And while this is doing the work, do we actually have Livewire version 4? Let's open Composer.json and search for Livewire. And yes, we do have Livewire version 4. So if you install new Laravel project, it already comes with Livewire version 4, which is logical, obviously. It completed the work, and we're gonna review this. Now we have this create short URL blade file, which is right now Laravel Livewire version 4 component. We have this anonymous class right here. Awesome. Everything is there related to Livewire. Cool. And we have the file here as well. Okay, so again, you're gonna make the review of this. Now I'm excited to see the result in the browser, so let's go into the browser and access the home page. And this is how it looks like. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go into my courses website, thecodeholic.com, and I'm going to click on my courses, and I'm going to choose my Laravel for Beginners course, which I believe genuinely is one of the best, if not the best, Laravel for Beginners course. It is 24 hours, 11 hours, is free on YouTube. I'm placing an ad right now here. So I'm going to copy the following URL, and I'm going to pasting this here and click on shorten URL. URL shortened, and this is it. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to click on copy. We're going to open a new tab, paste, and hit the enter, and voila, I was redirected into my URL. So the shortening functionality already works. Now I'm interested if it keeps track on these clicks, because I clicked on the link once, right? So we are going to open right now terminal, a new terminal, and I'm going to execute. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. I was planning to access Tinker and have a look in the database if the click was registered in the database, a record, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the cursor, because we have this MCP, Laravel MCP, it has access to the database. Now check the database. Actually, let's use voice input. Now check the database and give me a list of records from URL clicks table. Okay, why so it executed this using Laravel Artisan Tinker, but I expected it to use MCP. Okay, can you try to do the same thing but use MCP? Okay, look at this. So we don't have the proper MCP enabled in the project, and this is something we're going to do. So we're going to go into cursor settings. We're going to click on these tools and MCPs, and we are going to enable Laravel Boost and Herd. Why they are not enabled, I'm not sure. And the Herd one is failing, but we don't need Herd because we are not using Herd actually right now. So Laravel Boost is going to be full enough. Now, retry this using MCP. Now it should have right now Laravel Boost MCP, and it should be able to get the data from the database through MCP. Now it tries to execute the following query. You can review this, see what query it is going to execute, and we're going to add this MCP tool in LO list. Now this is it. So this is a single record what is in the database. I'm going to try this a second time and copy this and access it second time, and I'm going to tell this retry. It still finds one record, not sure why, but I'm going to tell this I clicked on the same shortened link second time, so there should be a second record. Okay, so now it gave me the explanation, even though I expected to record. The reason is that the issue is that 301 moved permanently redirect on line 32. Browser caches 301 redirects. No subsequent clicks go directly to the destination without hitting your server. To track every click, you should use 302 found and 307 temporary redirect instead. Would you like me to change this? Option 1, use 32 recommended for this. Yeah, we actually want to go with 302 because we want to keep track on every click, every redirect that happens, right? We don't want browser to cache this. Go with option 1. Now it updated the code, and we're going to review the changes again. It is using this HTTP found status code, and it has this, updated the test as well to expect this new thing. So we're going to keep both. And now if we're going to retry this, I'm going to close these tabs and now check how many records we have in the database. Okay, we still have one record, probably because we returned 301 once and then browser cached this. So I'm going to try this in incognito, bring up new window. Okay, I tried this incognito and now tell me how many records we have. Okay, now it found 2 records because I tried this in incognito and it actually worked. And now guess what we are doing? We're gonna commit everything. Again, let's use Cursor AI. Now generate detailed commit message for the changes made in this conversation. Okay, I'm taking the commit message and actually committing. Now we have to move on. I'm going to open new chat. We're going to go into Claude and we're going to tell it now generate prompt for task 3. Okay, so here is task 3 prompt. It is also giving a context inside every prompt. One thing what I want to tell this and force it to update the code is the following. Don't be specific about where the component should be created. I'm talking about this component. Let the cursor decide that part. Include in the prompt that the cursor must use Livewire version 4. Okay, now it updated that prompt for me, and I'm going to copy and go back to cursor. Now, at this point, it decided to create the modal, and it asks me to search for Flux UI modal documentation, which obviously I'm going to allow because it needs the documentation to implement the modals or any other components. Again, on every new chat, it asks me if I want to proceed with this implementation plan. It completed the entire task and we see the files and we're going to review them. The process goes on. The interesting thing is that it changed the entire dashboard from a typical blade file into a component. Now, let's see the result in the browser. I'm going to go into dashboard and here we see my generated URLs. Interesting one. Whenever I create new URL, let's take the second course. I'm going to get this URL, come here, paste, shorten URL. Then if we go back into dashboard, we see this updated list of URLs and we see number of clicks on each URL as well. And we have ability to delete the URL. When we click on the actual URL itself, it opens a new tab, but obviously in the next prompts, we will be able to add some analytics. Give me detailed commit message for the changes made in this chat. So here's the task 4 prompt. My recommendation is to have a look at this acceptance criteria, when it is considered to be accepted. And if this is good for you, then you can copy and paste into the cursor. Now here's the place where it added this get clicks percentage method. That's interesting one because it takes all the clicks and calculates how many percent is a regular click and how many percent is a QR code scan and redirect. Interesting. Now it created this URL analytics component which displays the analytics for each URL and the total clicks and the regular clicks and recent clicks and QR scans as well. And it also has these LUATs clicks per day to give you kind of a bar chart or line chart type of preview. Now let's go into the browser and have a look at this. So we're going to click on this analytics button, which is the new button, and we see the following result. We see the URL, the shortened URL, the original URL. We see when it was created, total clicks, regular clicks, and QR code scans as well. And it shows the last 7 days clicks based on each day. Obviously, we can ask cursor to convert this into a bar chart or line chart. Generate commit message for the changes made in this chat. Now we move on task 5, and the main subject of the task 5 is to implement QR code generation. Here we have the entire prompt for task 5, and it installs a QR code package to create the QR code, and everything regarding the QR code is right here. It created this QR code service, and inside there it generated a couple of methods, and I didn't understand all of them why it was generated. So whenever I did not understand something, I asked cursor to explain me. I don't like to blindly accept things. Okay, so I'm going to bring up cursor and I'm going to ask this. I'm going to just drag the tab right here. Actually, whenever you put something in this text field, then you cannot use speech to text, which is, I don't know why it happens like this. Explain me the following class. Why do we need all these methods? Which method is calling what method? And check if we have any unnecessary methods as well. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to send this. Then I'm going to drag this tab, and now I have my text and the tab as well. So it's going to use that particular file as its context. Okay, so here we have this method hierarchy. We have this public convenience layer, which is used somewhere, probably in the controller. Generate QR code for URL, giving the URL, which calls build QR URL, and generate QR code PNG for URL, and we have this build QR URL, and these are lower level generations. Okay, generate QR code returns SVG, generate QR code PNG returns PNG. Okay, what each method does: this one creates SVG from any URL string, this one creates PNG from any URL string. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Takes URL model, adds q equals 1, returns SVG. Okay, and this one does the same, but returns PNG. Interesting. Builds the tracking URL with q equals 1. So that q equals 1 parameter is important because in the database, we're going to save whether the redirect happens through QR code or with the short URL. Generate QR code for URL plus build QR URL is used on dashboard, and then we have this analytics, generate QR code for URL. Okay, so we also have unnecessary methods. The lower level method generate QR code and generate QR code PNG are only called internally. We could simplify this. Actually, I want to simplify this. So now we have this generate QR code for URL. It's deleted this generate QR code for URL as well. Let's keep all and let's have a look. Generate QR code for URL, generate QR code PNG for URL, and we have this build QR code. Now it's time to have a look in the browser because that's the interesting part. I'm going to copy this. We have this shortened URL. Let's go to the dashboard. Let's click on this QR code button right now, and it generates the QR code and it opens the following URL. We can download the PNG. This is SVG, by the way, but we can download the PNG as well, or we can close this. Okay, when you scan this using your mobile application or whatever, then it's going to open the following URL, but it is going to add q equals 1 parameter in the URL, and that's for tracking whether the redirect happens through QR code scanning or through the short URL. Now we have QR code generation also done. Generate commit message for the changes made in this file. And we move on to the last task, and we're going to generate prompt for the last one. Okay, so here's the prompt for the last task, and the whole idea of this prompt is that we have consistent UI and UX. We have the enhanced validation, some success and error messages, whether the user is guessed or authenticated to have a proper UX, responsive design, loading states, accessibility, edge cases, UX improvements, and the prompt is the largest prompt we had so far. Look at this, a lot of things going on right here. Obviously, I'm going to read this. If I accept this, I will put this in the cursor. If not, I will start the second iteration. One thing what I love in Cursor is that it gives me the following to-dos so that I can keep track on what it is working right now, what is done, what needs to be done, and whether the to-dos are actually correct or not. It did a bunch of interesting things right here regarding the loading states edit, the live validation, flash messages, and the interesting one is this accessibility part as well. So it added this area label, screen reader only texts, and it updated this URL policy for authentication. It actually created this URL policy for authorization and a bunch of new things. Okay, now I'm testing everything finally. Let's open this. The redirect happens. That's perfect. Let's go into dashboard. Now we see 3 links right here. Actually, I can create a short link of the same URL multiple times, probably. So I can repeat the same thing. I created a short link of a short link. That is also possible. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, why not? So then here it is. Everything is working. Yeah, it's typically added some things regarding the responsiveness, but we haven't tested what happens when the user is not authenticated and trying to access the dashboard or URL or something else. So let's try to access dashboard. Yeah, obviously it doesn't work. And my final prompt will be remove sidebar links such as documentations, which is not necessary anymore, and come up to some creative name and put that creative name in the header of the application as well. It come up to snip link name, which is not actually bad. So I'm going to leave that. Give me a comment message for the changes, what has been done in this chat. So here I'm creating right now a repository to push everything on GitHub and make it open source and available for you guys. So we are going to get the following part. Okay, so here I pushed everything, and having a look, I don't see a README file at all. So I need to basically create README file. So I bring up cursor, I open new chat and dictate it. Please generate README file for the project. Let's remove this ticket. Okay, so the README was generated, I committed and pushed it right here, and it's time to deploy the project on a custom domain, and let's take some short domain to make this entire project worthable. Now, if you sign up on hostinger.com and get your shared hosting plan, you're going to see in your to-do section the following card: start creating or migrating a website. We click on this, create or migrate. Then we're going to choose create a website. We click on next. We're going to choose whether this is a WordPress, website builder, Horizons. I'm going to click on this empty HTML PHP website. And this is the place where we are going to choose a domain. Hostinger's shared hosting plan includes free domain as well. I also have this free domain available here. And now my goal is to choose a domain. Let's use sniplink.io. Yep, that is available. We're going to click on next. Because we are registering a new domain, it asks us contact details. So it is filled. In my case, you have to fill this information, then finish registration. Now we have to choose the location of the server. We have a couple of options. I'm going to choose something in Europe because I'm based in Europe. The hosting is ready. The domain still is in connecting phase, and it will take some time to connect the domain as well as to generate the SSL certificates for the domain. So if we access these without HTTPS, we should see something already there. No, it's not connected yet. Okay, anyway, so this is not a big deal. It will take some time. Just be patient, maybe 5 to 15 minutes. Now, what we need to do is to try to deploy the project already because the hosting is there. So to achieve this, we're going to go into SSH section and we're going to click enable. So we are enabling SSH access. Then we have two options: to authenticate using password or to authenticate using public private keys. And we need to authenticate using public private key. So I'm going to click this add SSH key. And right here, this is the place where we need to put our public key. If you don't know what I'm talking about, right here, there's also this SSH client PuTTY, and you can download this PuTTY and download PuTTY Gen as well. PuTTY Gen is a tool which generates public-private keys on your Windows machine. However, if you are on Mac, like I am right now, then we need certain command to generate public-private keys. So we can use Claude. Give me command to generate SSH keys on Mac and Ubuntu. The command is the same for both in Mac and Windows, so you're going to copy this. You can change this into your email, paste in your terminal and generate it. Once this is generated, then your keys will be saved under SSH folder in your home directory. You're going to have private key, which will have the following name, and public key, which will have .pub extension there. Okay. If you want to read the public key, you're going to execute the following code. Okay, this is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to open terminal in my cursor. I already have this public private key generated, so simply I am going to read them. IDE rsa.pub. So this is my public key, which is generated with a different algorithm in the past. That's why it is larger than the one which will be generated in your case probably with the following algorithm, with this one. Okay, so this is my public key. I'm going to click on this add SSH key and I'm going to paste this right here. And I can call this my work Mac. So we're going to save this. And now I copy the following line, which is the command to connect to the server. So I copy this. Let's go into terminal again. I'm going to paste this and hit the enter. I'm going to type yes here. And now I'm connected to the server. So SSH connection works. Now I want to show you a package, open source package, using which we're going to deploy our project on Hostinger with a single command. This open source package is something that I developed in the past, and it's called Laravel Hostinger Deploy. So you can check this on my GitHub repository, and let's scroll down below, and inside the README, as you can see, we need to copy the following command. We're going to paste this inside our project. Make sure that you are inside your project. You're going to hit the enter. Now it's going to download and install that. After which we're going to configure the following environment variables. So I'm going to copy this. Let's go into cursor. Let's open .en file. Actually, it doesn't open. Let's open this from here. Let's scroll down below. And at the very bottom, I'm going to paste this. And now we need to adjust these SSH credentials and GitHub API token. First, let's go into Hostinger again and copy IP address, which is going to be host. So we're going to put this right here. We're going to copy port, goes here. We're going to copy username, goes here. And what about the site directory? Site directory is whatever we called our domain. So it's going to be sniplink.io. So we can type this, sniplink.io. Okay, and the last thing is to configure GitHub API token. This is also optional, by the way, not mandatory, but if you want absolutely smooth deployment, we have to do this. So in this case, we're going to click on our profile icon and click on settings. Then we're going to scroll down below and click on developer settings. Then we're going to expand this personal access tokens and click on fine-grained tokens. And then we're going to click generate new token. We're going to assign it some name. I'm going to call this sniplink.io. And we're going to choose the expiration date as well. And I'm going to set this no expiration. And I'm going to choose only selected repository. And this will be generated only for this URL shortener repository. Okay, we're going to add two permissions here. The first one is going to be administration permission, and second one is going to be secrets permission. And I'm going to explain why. By the way, in both cases, we're going to assign read write here and read write here. The administration permission is necessary so that our open source package will register public key, deploy key inside our repository, this repository, okay? And administration permission is necessary for this. The secrets permission is to create several secrets inside our repository, which will be later used for automatic deployment. Anything like the administration or secrets happens only for this repository because we have chosen this repository as one repository only. Now we're going to create this token. We're going to copy the token and we're going to paste this right here. Next, we need to go back to our open source repository README file and we're going to copy the following command. PHP artisan hostinger deploy and setup CI/CD. Bring up terminal, paste and hit the enter. I'm going to expand this so that we can have a better look. So it is connecting to the server. GitHub API connection is also successful because of the API key. Now it detected that there is something inside that folder. And that's logical because there's index.php generated by Hostinger, which is something we don't want. We have two options. We're going to choose option number one to replace with Laravel project. Now it is starting deploying the application. Okay, the application has already been deployed. Here's the link. We can open this in the browser. Yeah, the SSL certificate still is in processing stage, so it doesn't open right now. If we go back to the deployment stage, we're going to see that it also published the workflow file inside our project, and it created the following GitHub secret variables. Next step is to review the following workflow file, commit and push that. Let's go into our repository and let's go into settings. Scroll down below, click on deploy keys, and this is the deploy key which was added right now through this API token we just generated. And if you scroll down below and click on secrets and variables and click on actions, down below we're going to see those repository secrets which we are added 1 minute ago again because of this API key we generated. So that happened through this open source package. Now let's go into Hostinger and let's search for SSL. Now we can see that the SSL is active. Yeah, registering new domains sometimes takes several minutes. Sometimes it might need like a couple of hours. So we have to wait for this. Until this is propagated and we see the domain working, we need to finalize that part. So we can open this GitHub Workflows Hostinger deploy file in our project. We can do a review that was published by the repository. So whenever we push something on the main branch, it is gonna dispatch the workflow and it's gonna run the tests. It's gonna check out basically it has a couple of steps. So to run the tests, to build assets, and to deploy. So the first one is gonna run the tests. This one is going to build the assets, and inside deploy, which depends on both of the jobs, test and build assets, if it is successful or if it is failed, in both cases, it's going to deploy. But obviously, this is something we need to customize. We can change this. It should only be pushed if it is successful. We can scroll down below, and right here in the following area, it is using the secrets. I'm going to show this to you. Here it is. It is using that secrets to from the GitHub Actions runner server to contact to Hostinger server, communicate, and to deploy the code there. Also, the PHP version what we have right now is set to PHP 8.3, and we can change this into 8.4. We're going to find other cases where we are using 8.3 and we need to change this 8.4. So what we need to do is right now to commit everything, those changes, and push. Okay, once this is pushed, we can go into our repository and click on actions, and we're going to see 3 workflows started. One is Hostinger deploy, second is linter, third one is tests. We can click on Hostinger deploy and wait what this will do. So as you can see, these 2 jobs are running in parallel, and then this one will start working. The deploy was failed, and the reason is that my PHP version inside Hostinger server is set into PHP 8.3. So we need to go into settings, search for PHP here, click on PHP configuration, and change this into PHP 8.4. Additionally, if you want to configure any PHP extensions or options, you can do this from here as well. Now let's go into our job, and I'm going to click rerun jobs, rerun failed jobs. The deployment has been completed. If after 15 minutes of checking your domain still is not working, we have to uninstall SSL and then install it again. The application domain started working, and this is the homepage of our app. Let me actually create an account. Okay, so I have created account. I don't have any links generated. So let's open the codeholic.com. Let's go into courses, open Laravel for Beginners course, copy this, and I'm going to create my first URL. So I'm going to paste this, shorten URL, and this is it. Awesome. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to open, hit the enter. I got redirected. Now let's try the second time. That works. Okay, let's go into dashboard, and we see this one link, only one link. It has 2 clicks right here. Let's click on analytics. We can see this. Let's go. Actually, I want to generate QR code. Do I have a link to generate QR code here on the details page? No, I don't have it. Okay, anyway, so let's click on QR code here. The QR code is generated. Right now, I'm going to scan this on my mobile device. And yep, I confirm that I was redirected. Now, if I refresh this page or maybe go into analytics, we can see that there's one QR code scan and 2 regular clicks. And this is really good. This is awesome. So, and the link is not that big, sniplink.io and whatever is this. Okay, cool, really cool. I'm really pleased with the result. And by the way, if you want to enable email activation when new users sign up, right now, if you sign up, you are already, like, you can use any fake emails, right, to sign up. So if you want email activation, this is what we need to do. We need to open Cursor. We need to ask it, yeah, I want to implement, it's pretty straightforward. You just need to implement one class from the user model. I will tell you exactly what needs to be done. So basically, we need to open user model, and that user model must implement must verify email, and that must verify email needs to be uncommented from the top, and that's it. So now I comment this. Once I push this, then if we check in the browser, we're going to see a new actions or multiple actions are running. Here's the hosting or deploy. We can see that this is running and it is going to deploy the new change. However, there's one additional thing I want to mention to you. If we go into our hosting section and we click on File Manager, we can click on this Access Files on sniplink.io. Then we're going to scroll down below and we're going to find this EN file and we're going to edit this. So that's the main configuration file. Okay, where's the conflict? Let's double click on EN. Okay, it got opened. So we need to change a few things right here. So we need to change the environment to be production because we don't want this local anymore because it is deployed. We need to set false inside the debug, and we have to provide the correct application URL. Like in this case, this is going to be sniplink.io. And that's the crucial thing we need to do. And if we scroll down below, this is the database connection, which we can change into MySQL. If we want, we can create MySQL from the shared hosting as well. If we click on MySQL right here, remote MySQL, we can create new database, we can assign new user to it, and then take that user database and put that information right here. Okay, that's possible. If we scroll down below, we're going to find this mailer, and this is set into log right now, which means any mails are saved inside the log file. We have to change this. So if we enable email verification, then we will obviously need to send emails. Okay, this is not the topic of this tutorial, but I will give you a hint. So we're going to set SMTP in the mailer, and inside the schema and everything we have to provide. If you don't know how to achieve this, I encourage you to open Cursor and ask it. I deployed my application on domain XYZ. I want to implement email sending. Give me popular email sending providers, which will have SMTP there so that I can use it when sending the emails in my Laravel application. One of them is Mailgun, which I typically use. You can sign up into the Mailgun. You have to basically verify the ownership of the domain, which means that you need to go into DNS settings right here and you have to add several records. And again, if you follow along with AI, ChatGPT or Claude, it will give you all the guidance you need. Mailgun is one of the options which you can use. And once you change the SMTP credentials, then actual real emails will be sent to the users, basically, who will authenticate. Right now, what I did is that, is the deployment okay? Yep, the deployment is okay. What I did right now is that if I register with a new user, click on create an account, this is what happens. So it tells me that I need to verify my email address before I do anything. So if I try to access dashboard as an example, it doesn't allow this to me. But once you configure your email sending properly, you will be able to receive an email, click on link, account will be verified, and you will be able to create this thing. Okay, so that's the end of this story from A to Z, how to build the application using AI and deploy that. All right, my friends, that is for now, and I hope you learned something new. Please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next time.